Dear friends, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, I am going to talk about the bacterial cell. Bacterial cell is a prokaryotic cell. As you already know, I'll discuss different parts of the bacterial cell and I'll discuss the parts one by one. So, let's begin the topic. Here I'll mention firstly the name bacterial cell. Bacterial cell. It is a prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell which is externally covered by the glycocalyx, and then internal to the glycocalyx there is cell wall, then there is the presence of plasma membrane, and there is cytoplasm, the genetic material, plasmids. I will discuss them one by one. First of all, we must know what the prokaryotic cell is. Prokaryotic cell means it is a Greek word. Pro means false and karyon means nucleus. That means these are the cells which contains the false type of the nucleus. So first of all, I'll try to draw the diagram of the bacterial cell. Then I will discuss the points one by one. Firstly, there is an external covering of the bacterial cell in the form of glycocalyx. Then inner to this there is a cell wall and inner to cell wall there is plasma membrane which gets invaginated at certain points. I'll discuss about the invagination also, but first of all we must draw this structure here. Then there is a genetic material that's called the bacterial genome, bacterial genomic DNA we say, and then there are special type of the structures which are found in the bacterial cell called the plasmids. These are the plasmids. Then there are the ribosomes, and then there are certain kinds of the food granules. This is one type, this is another type of food granule, and this is another type. Then the bacterial cells may be or having the flagella as well, whiplash like structure which gets arised from the plasma membrane like this. This is its first portion. Then it is attached with the another part of the, then the third one is the we say it is called the shaft, and it contains a protein. It is also called the filament. And externally the bacterial cell is covered by these finger like structures, bristle like structures called the fimbriae, and there are also tubular structures on the surface of the bacterial cell They are called pilli or pillus. So I have drawn this structure here. And this is the cytoplasm of the bacterial cell. As you already know that the bacterial cell is devoid of any cell organelle which is found in the eukaryotic cell except the ribosome. So let us discuss these structures one by one. First of all, I will tell you the shape of the bacteria. Shape of bacterial cell. What is the shape of the bacterial cell? Bacterial cell has 4 types of the shapes. First one is called the bacillus. Second is called the coccus. Bacillus means rod shaped. Coccus means spherical. This is rod shaped bacteria. It's a rod like, and this is the spherical shaped bacteria. Then the third one is called the vibrio. Vibrio is the comma shaped bacteria. Comma shaped like this. And the last type of the bacterial shape, that is to be called as the spirillum. Spirillum means spiral shaped bacteria like this. These are the 4 types of the shapes the bacteria is having. Once again, I'll repeat. The type of the bacteria called the bacillus. This is rod shaped bacteria. Coccus, spherical. Vibrio, comma shaped. Spirillum, spiral. This structure is called as the this structure is called glycocalyx. Glycocalyx. Externalmost covering of the bacterial cell. This may be slimy layer or this may be capsule. It depends upon its thickness. It is smooth one and it is to some extent thick. Both gives protection to the bacterial cell. Then inner to this one, this is called glycocalyx. And inner to this there is cell wall. Cell wall of the bacteria. It is made up of peptidoglycan. That is muramic acid. Actually, peptidoglycan is the name means N-acetyl muramic acid and NAG. That is this NAG, N-acetyl glucose amine. Remember these 2 points. So again I will tell you that the cell wall of the bacteria is actually made up of peptidoglycan, that is the muramic acid. It is actually made up of 2 materials. One is called NAM. NAM means N-acetyl muramic acid and NAG means N-acetyl glucosamine. Then inner to this there is plasma membrane. This plasma membrane, its composition is somewhat same to that of the plasma membrane of the eukaryotic cell. Composition same to that of the eukaryotic plasma membrane. Point to be noted here. But this plasma membrane has invaginations. It has invagination, that is called infold as well. These invaginations are called the mesosomes. This is the mesosome. Mesosome. This mesosome is also called the chondroid. That means it is equivalent to the mitochondria of the eukaryotic cell. It is equivalent to the mitochondria of the eukaryotic cell. That's why it is called the chondroid. And this invagination may be vesicle, it may be tubular, and it may be lamella. As far as the function of the invagination is concerned, or this mesosome, it has many functions like cell wall formation. Then it helps in DNA replication. Then distribution into the daughter cells. Distribution into the daughter cells. Its function is also excretion, but the dominant function of the mesosome is respiration. As you already know, this mesosome is attached with this DNA, or we can say the genomic DNA of the bacteria. Hope that you got this point. The plasma membrane gets invaginated at certain points. They are called the invaginations or the infolds. Infolds or infoldings in the form of mesosome. Mesosome is in the form of a vesicle or in the form of a tubular form, or it is lamella. And invagination, cell wall formation, invagination of the mesosome, or we can say the invagination of plasma membrane, that's mesosome or the chondroid. It is responsible for the formation of cell wall. It helps in DNA replication. It helps in distribution of the DNA into the daughter cells, and it helps in excretion. It helps in respiration. So you must keep in mind these points. Inner to plasma membrane, or we can say another folding is found in certain kinds of the bacteria, that is called chromatophore. Chromatophore. Chromatophore is the enfolding which contains photosynthetic pigment. Photosynthetic pigments. So it helps in formation of food, that is called photosynthesis. These are called the photosynthetic bacteria. Example: blue green algae. Remember this point as well. Then we found here the homogeneous mixture which contains some cell organelles. This is called cytoplasm or cytosol of the cell. It contains firstly the genomic DNA which helps in replication, which is actual DNA of the bacterial cell. It is circular, it is double-stranded DNA. Then coming to the next point, that is the presence of plasmids. Plasmids, very, very important point so far as the bacteria are concerned. Plasmids are the additional or extra genetic material of bacterial cells. This plasmid is also circular. It is circular. It is double-stranded DNA. Remember these points. Genomic DNA also circular in nature, double-stranded, and the plasmid, that is the additional or extra genetic material, that is circular in nature, and it is what it called as the double-stranded as well. This is found in certain kinds of the bacteria. As far as this plasmid is concerned, here I will mention plasmids are of four types. Four types of plasmids are there. So mention the names of these plasmids. First plasmid is called the F plasmid. F plasmid is found, means it is called the fertility plasmid. Those bacteria which contain the F plasmid are considered to be as the males. Because these contain the fertility factor. They are also called the donors. They are the donors or the males, and we can represent them with the help of F plus. So F plus category are the male bacteria. Those which lack the F factor or the F plasmid called the F negative or female bacteria. They are also called recipients, means they receive the genetic material. So second plasmid is called the R plasmid. What is R? R means resistance. They have resistance to certain antibiotics. Means when they infect any organism, that very organism can take antibiotics. These antibiotics are not beneficial to these organisms because they have a resistance against those antibiotics. And the third category is called the col plasmid. This col plasmid is actually called the carcinogenic plasmid. And these plasmids have a role in bacteriolytic, we say, effect. And the fourth and the last type of the plasmid that is mentioned to be here, fourth one, this is called NF plasmid. That means those plasmids or the plasmids which are found in the bacteria are responsible in the nitrogen fixation. NF means nitrogen fixing or fixation plasmids. So they help us in nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation. If we take an example, nitrosomonas. Nitrosomonas. So these are the four types of the plasmids. Here we can mention this is the plasmid, and this is called the DNA or genetic material. Keep remember these points. And the bacteria also contains the ribosomes here, ribosomes. These ribosomes are present separated from each other, or as well as they are found in aggregations, that is called the polyribosome or polysome. So remember, polysome or polyribosome means aggregation of the ribosomes, and the bacteria contains 70S type of ribosome, and S here means the Svedberg's unit. Keep remember. Then the bacteria also contains the food granules in the form of, here this is represented by the one color of the marker. This is the dark marker, this is the blue marker. This red marker here, these are to be considered as the phosphate granules. And second category, the blue color, or we can say the dark colored granules, are to be considered as the cyanophycean granules. And third category, blue colored granules. Here these granules are called the phosphate granules, these are called the cyanophycean granules, and the third category is called as the, this category, this is called glycogen granules. I hope that you are getting these points. Then I want to talk about the outer surface, that's called the glycocalyx, which contains two structures. One is called a pila or pili, and second structure is called the fimbriae. I will mention here these points. As far as this red structure is concerned, it is to be called as the pilus, It contains it. What is actually? It's a tubular outgrowth which is responsible to attach with the another bacteria, to attach with another bacteria, and it is responsible to pass the genetic material to another bacteria. So it helps in conjugation. Must remember, it helps in conjugation. Remember, conjugation is a process in which the male bacteria, that's called to be as the F plus plasmid, which what it called is that donates the genetic material to the bacteria, that's called the recipient or the female bacteria. It is considered to be as the F negative. I have mentioned on the board. So it helps in conjugation. It contains a protein called pillin protein. What it contains a protein? It contains a protein called the pillin protein. Another structure here, this is called the fimbriae. This is called the fimbriae. This fimbriae is also a bristle-like structure. And this structure is solid in nature. It helps us in attachment with the another bacteria. It provides a function of attachment to the another bacteria. So it helps us in attachment. And the final structure here, that is called the flagella. Whiplash-like structure. In case of bacteria, the flagella is single-stranded, and it consists of three parts. Namely, this is called the basal body. This is the basal body. This is called a hook. And another portion, the outer and the longest one, that is called shaft or filament. Hope that you got the information regarding the bacteria. I'll recap once again. This bacteria is externally covered by the fimbriae and pili. This is the fimbriae, and these long structures, tubular structures, are called the pili. And externally the bacteria is covered by the glycocalyx, which may be a slimy layer or it's a capsular layer. And inner to it there is cell wall. Cell wall in case of bacteria is made up of peptidoglycan, namely NAM and NAG, that means N-acetyl muramic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. Then inner to this there is a plasma membrane which has certain inner foldings in the form of mesosome, that's also called the chondroid. I have assigned the function and I have already discussed them. And it also contains the chromatophore, has a photosynthetic property, that means it helps to synthesize the food, that means it contains the chlorophyll. So this kind of a bacteria is in the form of a blue-green algae, that's also called the cyanobacteria. Inner to this there is a cytosol or the cytoplasm, which contains the genetic material, circular DNA, and extra genetic material is in the form of a plasmid. And plasmid has four types. I have mentioned here, in the form of F plasmid, fertility plasmid, in the form of R plasmid, that's called the resistance plasmid, and coal plasmid or carcinogenic plasmid. it has a bacteriolytic effect. And then I have talked about the different kinds of granules in the form of this phosphate granule, cyanophiogen granule, or glycogen granules. And there is the presence of ribosomes, which are responsible in one way or the other way in formation of proteins when it combines with the what it called as the mRNA. And then I have mentioned this the cytosolic region, plus ultimately I have talked about the flagella in the form of a, it contains three parts, or it has three portions. One is embedded, that's called the basal body, then hook, and then the shaft or the filament. I hope that you got the information regarding the topic, and I also hope that you will share my videos with your friends, so that they can also get the information regarding this what it called the regarding the same topic. And inshallah, in the coming days I will upload different kinds of the topics related to your NEET class. So keep watching my videos. Allah Hafiz. There are 5 types of the bacteria on the basis of the presence of flagella. First one is called the Atricus, bacteria which doesn't contain any type of the flagella. That means it is devoid of flagella. That's called Atricus. Atricus. Without flagella. Bacteria without flagella called Atricus. Second category is called the Monotricus. Monotricus means the bacteria which contains only one flagella, and bacteria which contains the flagella on both sides, that is called Amphitricus. Amphitricus means flagella found on both sides. Flagella found on both sides. The fourth category is the flagella containing on one side, but they are numerous in number, called the Lophotricus. Lophotricus. Many flagella on one side. And finally, the fifth category is called the Peritricus. That means the bacteria having uniform distribution of flagella. So first one is the Atricus without flagella. Example, this is the flagella, this is the bacteria which doesn't contain any kind of the flagella. Second one, Monotricus, having only one flagella, like this, like the diagram which I have mentioned on the middle of the board. This one, it contains only one flagella, so it is called the Monotricus. Third one is the Amphitricus, flagella found on both sides, like this. This is the bacteria, it contains the flagella here and here. And Lophotricus means the bacteria which contains the flagella on one side, but they are many in number. And finally, the Peritricus means perimeter of the bacteria. The bacteria here having uniform distribution of the flagella. So these names are here: Atrachus without flagella, Monotrachus only single flagella, Amphitrachus the flagella found on both sides of the bacteria, Lophotrachus many flagella on one side. Here is the diagram, and Peritrachus means uniform distribution of the flagella. Thanks for watching.